Hello there. Hello there. Welcome to Are You Okay broadcast. Well, let's
Alithia,
talk
we
about
can't
it.
hear.
Let's talk about it. Sponsored by Seven Keys to a Mother's Heart Ministry. My name is Dr. Alethea Simmons, and I will be your host along with Dr. Lindsay. We're co hosts of tonight's podcast. We're so excited. We have a hot topic on tonight. We have a fabulous panel that will be joining us, and we're going to have each one to introduce themselves in just a second. But we're going to ask you to push the like button and to also push the button to follow Dr. Simmons on YouTube. And we want you to push the share button. Call a neighbor and call a friend and have them to tune in on tonight. All right. I am getting a little message here. Let me see here. Are you able to hear me okay? Okay, Dr. Lindsay. Hey, how you
Yes,
doing?
I'm doing great. How all the panelists doing tonight? It's so good to see all of you. And to
Doing
our
well.
audience, welcome back.
All right, all right. Well, call a neighbor again, call a friend, and have them to tune in. And we want you to also go to our comment section. And if there are any comments that you would like to include, we want you to write them in on our comment area. Any questions that you might have, or just any comments that you might want to make. So we are going to have Dr. Lindsay to open us up with a word of prayer, and then we're going to introduce our panelists to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let us pray. All wise and eternal God, our Father, we come to you this evening to give you thanks for another beautiful day, oh God. We thank you for life. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength. We thank you for dangers seen and unseen that you are protecting us from. And we thank you for great victories. We thank you for small victories. Thank you for this day, God, and thank you for being with us every waking moment of it. And now, God, as we prepare to discuss fantastic topic, oh most gracious God, may it be food for our minds, our thoughts, oh most gracious God. Be with us in all our discussing. Be with us on all our loving. Be with us all our giving. Be so careful to give your name the praise, the glory, and the honor. It's in the name of Jesus we pray. For his sake we always pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Dr. Lindsay. Thank you so much for our prayer, our opening prayer on tonight. Amen. Well, you all know, everyone knows Dr. Lindsay to my far right, and to his left, we have Zoe. Hey, Zoe. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hello, Zoe.
I think she's.
Okay. All right.
I
And
just
then
heard you. What did you
Oh, you
do?
did. Okay. She
and
wasn't
below
hearing you.
Zoe, we
I
have
can't hear
Michelle.
you.
Okay, Zoe, we can hear you.
Mhm.
All right. Below
I
Zoe,
don't
we
know what's going
have,
on. My audio is on.
Okay.
okay, we're good, Zoe. We're good. Okay,
Good.
below
We're good.
Zoe, we have Michelle. Hey, Michelle, thank you for joining
Hello.
us.
Certainly. Love
Hi.
here.
What's going
Okay,
on
and
with the
next is,
audio?
we good, Zoe. We good.
We can hear you.
Uh,
Okay, and below Zoe, we have Michelle. Hey,
Mhm.
Michelle.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. And we have Cynthia sitting next to Michelle. Hey,
Good
Cindy.
evening. Good evening,
my
everybody.
mic is on. The audio is on.
Zoe,
Oh, now it's all.
we got you. I got you on mute, Zoe.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. We got
Okay.
you. All right. And next to Cynthia, we have Marcel. Hey, Marcel.
Oh, she's on. Okay.
Hi, I had to unmute. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that.
Good night.
Okay. Okay, great, great. I'm just going to just ask you ladies just real quick to, when you're not speaking, to put your phone on mute. Thank you. All right. Well, here we go. Welcome back to Are You Okay broadcast. It's been a while since we've been on, since January. And let's talk about it tonight. And we want to take you back, back to the streets, if you will, the sounds and the spirit of Northwest Washington, D.C., the place that shaped us long before we even knew what purpose looked like. And growing up in a Black neighborhood in Northwest, not too far from Tacoma Park, and some folks called it Tacoma Park Northwest, wasn't just an experience, but it was a whole education. It was a community in its purest form. We didn't have everything, but we had each other. We had a lot, I should say, but neighbors were just neighbors. They were aunties and uncles and protectors, and you couldn't walk down the block without somebody calling your name or checking on you or reminding you who you were, who you belonged to. And there was a rhythm of life there. We can talk about the go-go of DC, but I think most of us that are on tonight, we come from the 60s. We're like the 60s. We weren't born in the 60s, but we grew up on the 60s music with the Temptations and the Supremes and the Marvelettes. But even as we look at the corner stores that were around where everybody knew, would run to, frozen custard and all of that. I'm not going to get too deep, but front porches, most of the homes had front porches, and we hung out. Conversations turned into life lessons, and our parents carried wisdom like a mantle and passed it down, whether you asked them for it or not. And yes, Northwest DC taught us identity. It taught us pride, and it taught us the beauty of being rooted and being connected as a neighborhood and as a community. Dr. Lindsay, I'm going to start off with just a couple questions, and if you can kind of peruse down the list to see, we have quite a few questions here and quite a few panelists, so we're not quite sure how far we will get through this. But one thing that we are going to ask you, our listening audience, is put some comments. Let us know who's watching tonight. Let us know who's listening. And certainly, if you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat. Okay. Well, as I said, we come from Northwest DC, not too far from Walter Reed. And most of us were neighbors, like a half a block away. And then we had two sisters on. One sister is having technical problems tonight, but we have another set of sisters. We have Zoe and Marcel. They lived about 6 blocks away from us. And then the rest of us lived right around the corner from one another. So our first question here is, how would you describe your neighborhood during the years you were growing up? And I think, Michelle, we'd start off with you, Michelle. How would you describe our neighborhood during the years that you were growing or we were growing up?
Okay. Well, it was a sense of pride. A lot of our parents, I imagine, at least my parents, came from, we were living in apartments, projects or whatever. So this was their first home, right? And so there was a sense of pride. They had worked hard for this home. And I think that was probably true for a good portion of the people in the neighborhood. So, there was a purpose and a sense to leave legacy, and leave something for their children. And so it was a new experience for us. I found that everybody was friendly when we moved in. Of course, Lethea, you and I were next door to each other, so certainly we had a bond. And I found out that the parents began to know each other, and they were protectors, as you said before. And so, we had fun. We played outside, contrary to what they do today, how they stay in and they get on social media and that sort of thing. We were outside all day, enjoying ourselves, playing games, listening to music, laughing and joking and having a good time. So that's the sense that that's the kind of environment that that I grew up in. I felt a sense of security in that neighborhood, with parents and parents knowing each other. That's the other thing. A lot of the parents knew each other, talked to each other, and the children, they knew the children in the neighborhood as well. The parents knew a lot of the children in the neighborhood. So that's what I got from the neighborhood, growing up in that Northwest neighborhood.
All right. All right. Thank you, Michelle. Cindy, you want to pick up?
Sure. So one of the things that I held us together in our community was our respect for our elders. And all of our families stuck together. We, like Michelle said, we played together, we worshiped together. There was that religious element to our whole community. Everybody, had a church that they attended. We knew each other's aunties and uncles, not just the families in the community, but everybody's extended family as well. And so that became a huge part of it. I knew your Aunt Charlene and Joyce, and Aunt Gus and Aunt Nat for Zoe. So we just had that relationship that stuck together. And
Okay, I could hear Michelle, but now I can't hear anybody.
There for years and years and years. Everybody was graduated from high school, college, voc tech school, and our parents were still in the community. So that was a huge part of it.
All right. All right. We're moving right along here. Marcel, now, you and your sister, you all were maybe about 5 or 6 blocks away from us. And how would you describe your neighborhood during the years that you were growing up?
I believe I'm the youngest one on this panel here, age-wise. So I would say with my neighborhood, everywhere I grew up in front of Tacoma Park, that's where Zoe and I grew up at. And my parents moved there before I was even born. So that address, 4th Street, has been my entire life until I got married. My neighborhood, which is 4th Street, Van Buren, and I believe Whittier, 5th Street, most of the households were 2-parent households. Both parents worked. There was at least one professional up in that household. They was either engineer, they worked for the federal government. They had good jobs, and every single family in that neighborhood knew everybody's child. And there was at least 2+ children per household in my neighborhood. And believe me, if you got in trouble, the whole neighborhood is going to know about by the nighttime, because the phone would be off the hook ringing about talking to another parent what you did or what happened and stuff. But I cherish my neighborhood. I still talk, believe it or not, I moved away from there in 1994, but I'm still in touch with the neighbors that are still alive on my street, on 4th Street. And I stay in touch with them. I stay in touch with my childhood friend who now lives in Waldorf. So it's a lot of good memories, and I still carry them with me today.
All right. All right. Okay, Zoe, you ready? Because you've been going for the past 15 minutes since we've been on. Go ahead, Zoe. How would you describe your neighborhood?
She's on mute.
Okay, I had muted her earlier. Let me see. Let me unmute her. Okay, Zoe, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Your audio is going in and out.
What we got you, Zoe. Go ahead. What was it like in your neighborhood? Oh, can you hear me? Zoe, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, she can't.
Okay, because we're unmuted here. For you unmuted, but you can't hear us, so okay. All right, here we go. I have you. Let's see. Okay, try it now, Zoe. Okay. All right. We'll come back to Zoe. She's coming in and out. I don't know, her button maybe turn her volume maybe turned down because she's not muted. I don't see anything popping up on here. All right, here we go. Here's another question. What do you remember about the moment your family moved into the neighborhood? And can anybody describe? I'm going to throw out two joint questions here. Can you describe the demographics of your the neighborhood when you first moved in?
So I'll start. We
Okay.
moved in the house in 1957, and I believe that the Colemans were already on the block, Mr. and Mrs. Coleman. And all the other neighbors were white. And then that changed very quickly. We called it white flight. That's exactly what it was, white flight. They moved out, Black folk moved in. But the thing about it, like I said before, we stayed. Everybody, all the families stayed in the community. I left the community and moved to California after college. But when I came back, I purchased a home in this same community because people were still here. And so earlier I said we always got together. We barbecued and had dances at our houses in the basements and played in the alley, went to the Tacoma Rec Center, the Tacoma swimming pool. So we had a host of things that we did growing up and just hanging out and staying together as a community.
All right. Michelle.
Hmm? Yeah, I just can add to what Cindy said, in that this not only did the neighborhood change, the school changed. I know when when we were at Whittier, we had some white teachers in the beginning, a few white students, and then not Whittier, Coolidge High School. There were a few white teachers and white students, and then after a while, you had very few. So, that white flight was real. But, it just brought us closer together. I mean, it didn't matter because we all got along. And, I value the background that I had in growing up in the Black neighborhood. I really value it. It's given me a sense of not only pride, but courage to go out into the world. Because we had Black teachers. They were quality, teachers, excellent teachers who cared about us and cared about our success, and gave me and gave most of us, I'm sure, the courage to get out there and work hard and do it with integrity, because they taught us that as well. So.
All right. Let me check on Zoe. Zoe, do you have any sound now? Okay. How about you, Marcel? What do you remember?
Well, I can only tell you what Zoe told me and my parents because they moved there before I was born.
Okay.
I didn't come about till 1963, and my parents had already moved into the house. From my stories I was told when they moved there, our block was still white. I believe we may have been the only Black family that moved on 4th Street at that time. Um, and again, the term simply used white flight, I guess, over time. They started moving out because the families were moving in. And I know one story Zoe told me, I don't know if it's true, but these urban legends you keep hearing. From what I understand, when they first moved there, across the street, again, we lived directly in front of Tacoma Park. We looked at our house, Tacoma Park's right there. Zoe was across the street. Little girl next door went and said something to her that wasn't very nice. What she said to Zoe, next thing I saw, Zoe gave her a good little beat down. And and the family moved away not shortly after that little beatdown took place, from what I understand. And then over time, again, neighborhood changed, and like Cynthia said, they moved out. I remember looking at Zoe's Coolidge yearbook, and it was like, I don't know, Cynthia, you're younger than Zoe, right? So when Zoe was there, that, if I'm not mistaken, that yearbook looked almost like half and half Caucasian African American students in there. So it still was a good mix, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And I remember Zoe was telling me when she was going to high school, they weren't allowed to wear pants. They had to wear a skirt or a dress and the patent leather shoes or something. I don't know if it happened all the way through her years of Coolidge, but maybe when she first started out there. But we didn't go to Whittier. We went to Tacoma. We had to go to Tacoma Elementary School, and even when I was there, the school was still, it had a little sprinkle of the Caucasians still in there, but it was turned the majority African American at that time. And by the time I graduated from Tacoma, it pretty much was an all African American class. So yeah, everything they said, yeah, they moved to the suburbs and we came on in.
Yeah, well, I know when my family moved in, we were the second Black family on the street. And in fact, there was a detective, a white detective that lived across the street from us. And he actually did an investigation on my father because he could not understand how a Black family could move into that block. And they said that he must have been a number runner or, whatever. But of course, after he went through his inspection, he knew that, that my parents were law-abiding students. And Cindy and Zoe would know when we started Tacoma, there were no white teachers at all. I mean, no Black teachers at all. In fact, the entire time that we were there, I started when I was in 3rd grade. What grade did you start in, Cindy?
2nd grade.
Second, there when we graduated in 6th grade, there still weren't any Black teachers. And so it's amazing how I have girlfriends that ended up retiring from being counselors and teachers they didn't retire, but Tacoma happened to have been one of their schools that they worked at. And here they are, Black, and I'm like, wow, we didn't have any Black teachers at all in Tacoma. We probably had, I don't know, what was like the ratio? Was it maybe half Black and half white when we were in Tacoma, maybe?
I don't think it was that high. It remained, I'd say 75% white. But then by the time we reached Fall Junior High School, things started changing. And it looked maybe 50-50. And then by the time we got to Coolidge, there was still a number of white students there. But the one thing that did happen at Coolidge, we got our first Black history class. That was the first time Black history was taught at Coolidge High School. And we were in the 11th grade, Alethea, Michelle.
Yeah.
So that was just amazing in itself. But our families taught us our history. That's where we learned our history. from our parents.
All right. And Marcel, you were talking about pants. You know, no one wore pants. You didn't wear pants to work in the government. You didn't wear pants in school, elementary, middle school, high school, until I believe we were in the 12th grade that they passed a law where we were able to wear pants to school. I think that was our last year. But we wore black and white Oxfords, 19s, 21s, Mustangs, fishnet
Oh, yeah.
stockings, leather jackets, straight skirts. We didn't wear many jeans and all that. Even, you know, at home, I don't know what we wore really to play in, but we certainly didn't go anywhere without our dresses or our pleated skirts on.
You
Doc-
know,
Dr. Lindsay, I'm sorry.
no, I was thinking about the fact that when my parents were looking for a home, they would not take my mother's salary, and I don't know if that was across the board. I don't know if, but it was, that was the time. I was young
Yeah,
then.
that was the time.
That's the time that across the board. I didn't think it was a racial thing. I just they would not take her
They
salary.
wouldn't
So
take women's salaries. Yeah.
That was interesting, Michelle.
yeah,
Michelle, you're the only one I can hear.
really.
Oh, so she can
Yeah,
talk.
I can't hear nobody else.
Wow. I wonder what's
You're the only
happening.
one.
Okay. All right.
Now you're gone.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
Okay,
He's
Zoe,
having a
I got
problem.
you. I got you. Dr. Lindsay, do you
Yes, ma'am.
have a question?
Oh, it's a fascination to. I'm an alien if all of you recall. I'm from New Orleans, and so when I first came to DC, I was trying to figure were there any neighborhoods because I was in Northwest Washington around Howard, and so I couldn't get a feel for neighborhoods. But to hear you talk, I said, "Oh, so they were neighborhoods." When I first came to DC, I didn't realize they were neighborhoods, but. I enjoyed all what everybody said, and I just want to make one point on that first question, that all our neighborhoods, even the Black neighborhoods in New Orleans, everybody was one big family. There wasn't a lot of, what's that? What I want to say? There was a lot of confusion. Everybody was on one accord. The children played together, the adults talked together and stuff. So it was like that.
Yeah.
But here's a question I would want to see. This was important in New Orleans. I was wondering, was it important here? What are some of the unspoken rules or expectations that everybody in the neighborhood understood? You as children, what did your parents, your different parents, gave you the rules and regs, said, do this, don't do this. And you understood that. You didn't say, well, okay, let's see, we can test them. No, you just understood the rules. What were the rules?
Well, I got one.
What's that?
When the street lights came on at 8 o'clock, everybody
Yes.
would be home.
I think that's universal.
Look at
Me and my brother tried my mother one time. My daddy was a pushover. But me and my brother, we gonna play till. Oh, my mother put us out, y'all. You can't come in here. I told you when the lights are on, you should be inside. So we were crying. Oh
yeah, my mom did that to my brother one time. I think she
Alethea, you're still on the same
I think
question.
he
Can you
slept-
hear me?
I think he slept on the porch that night. She wouldn't let him in.
That's what we did.
Locked that screen door. You were supposed to be in that house.
Yep. But we never did it again.
Oh, you got that right.
Yeah. What we
No.
did, I know that we had the situation in our home is that we had to stay around the neighborhood.
Oh yes, yes.
We couldn't go 2 or 3 blocks down the road to the park, especially in the evening time
In
frame.
the evenings, yes.
I got in trouble one time going down with an older young lady in the neighborhood, going down to the park.
Right.
And I saw my mother driving around that park in that car. I was hiding behind bushes, and she was going around looking for me. So we couldn't
Wow.
do that sort of thing. We couldn't go too far.
You couldn't go too far. That was the rule.
But you know something, Dr. Lindsay?
sir.
One thing, Michelle, I want you to ask Zoe the question that Dr. Lindsay just asked, because she said you're the only one that she can hear. But
Okay.
just to add, before you do that, Michelle, I don't forget. Oh, one thing about it is that most of the homes, we all lived in single family homes, and most of the homes had porches on them.
Yes.
And so we hung out on each other's porches. There were certain porches that we didn't, but most of the families we hung out on one another's porches. And what was interesting about us as we grew up, most of the families, couple families had two or three kids, but most of the families had 5 or 6 children. And
Yeah.
each child had someone their age in somebody
Yeah.
else's family.
Yes, that's the way
And
we
all
were.
the families had their own friends, but we all came together, but they still all my brothers had, one of my brothers had friends. Then the other brother had their own within the families, because most of the families had 5 or 6 kids. And we hung out on one another's porches. And, we kicked ball in the alleys. We could run up and down the alleys, up and down the streets. And of course, everybody knew everybody. And another interesting thing that we did was, and it was mentioned earlier, that we were so close knitted. We were very, very close knit. If we met other friends from other neighborhoods or from schools, from the school, our classmates or whatever, we would bring them into our neighborhood, and they would become a part of our neighborhood. Very seldom did we venture out and hang out with people in other neighborhoods. We hung with the people, with the crew that was right there within our neighborhood. And what's exciting is that most of us have been friends over 60 years.
Oh, that's good.
And even though we may not see one another all of the time, it may be a year or two that goes by and we don't see one another. But when we come back together, it is like a reunion. And we're able to kind of pick up
That's good.
from where we left off. And it's like there was never any separation, if you know what I mean.
That's good.
And so Zoe, she can't hear. I was trying to send her a note, but Michelle, if you can ask Zoe the question that we're responding to now.
Okay, so can you
And
hear
then
me?
Dr. Lindsay, then you pick up.
Yeah,
from-
it's like it goes off and it says I'm
Can you hear me?
backstage and you have me muted.
Okay,
Okay.
Zoe, go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. Dr. Lindsay, you asked what things that you learned or your
Yes,
parents.
some of the rules.
Can you
What
repeat
some of the
those?
rules that your parents taught you when you were growing up? Yeah.
What are
But you
some of the
should-
rules that your parents taught you when you were growing up? Some of the things that
You can do
you
this.
got from your parents, you learned from their parents in terms of growing up as a young lady in the neighborhood.
Okay, for me, it was like if you open the door, always close the door.
Yes.
Always respect your elders. If you see someone that needs help, to
Yes.
assist them.
Yes.
And I think that gives us a sense of respect.
Respect.
And trust
Right.
of others.
That's
And
right.
our neighborhood kind of gave us that. In my block, there were no children but myself and my brother until my sister was born. So we learned to trust Caucasian white people as well as Black people, because on my street, it was just us and 3 other families, and they were Caucasian. So we learned a lot of things that I think all of us have incorporated into our personalities and lifestyle. For example, service to the community and to others, the caring for others, being a Girl Scout, and just doing things together, going to church. And I didn't have any friends until I went to school, to Tacoma Elementary School. And I had to walk 8 blocks, to get to Tacoma. So, I mean, we had a secure sense of freedom, and we didn't fear. We
Right.
feared our parents. We
Right.
didn't fear each other.
That's right.
So that's it for me. I know Marcel might have something she wants to add.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke. She spoke.
Yeah.
So I think we'll do that, Dr. Lindsay. When you ask a question, Michelle, since she's the only one that you're the only one that
Okay.
if you repeat it, so Zoe can ask the question. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Lindsay. Got another question?
Okay, this is a good one. This is a good one.
Yeah,
What are some of
this
your
audio
favorite
is in
childhood
and
memories?
out.
Oh, sorry about
What the deal is.
that. What is some of your favorite childhood memories from the neighborhood? You know, this includes the games that you played, the people that you played with.
One thing that I remember, we would always play double dutch, hopscotch.
Yes.
We would play baseball in the alley.
Yes.
What else did we just did a host of things. But the one thing we did not do was miss school.
Oh.
That was enough. We went to school every day. But in school we were encouraged to play musical instruments, to learn foreign languages and those kind of things. So that really rounded us out, you know. But the fun things that we did, swimming, Girl Scouting, Boy Scouting, a host of things.
Yeah. We had talent shows, didn't we, Cindy? We had
Alethea.
We had talent shows. You know, we had, as Alethea mentioned earlier, that we had parties in the basement, you know, and you just got together. What were they called?
Bugs.
Bugs.
We call them bugs.
Gigs. Gigs. Okay, bugs. Yes.
Well, I know growing up, yeah, since we were across the street from Tacoma Park, we had the recreation department right there at our foot. So they had a lot of activities there for us. We played kickball, we did baseball, you got the basketball, and you had the flag football. So Clifton and I was always going over to the park because they had the program set up over there during the warm months. And then during the winter time, we would go over to Coolidge, what they would be the canteen. So we would go play indoor basketball during the winter season after dinner time. We normally walk over there about, I would say, between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. We'd go to Coolidge and do the canteen thing. But in addition to the jumping jacks and the hopscotch, I did that with my next door neighbor. But we also played in the mud, in the backyard. We made our little mud pies. I don't know if you all did that, but we did that all the time. And we did our, what is it called, with the jacks, you know, the little diamond shaped things. What are they called, jacks? Yeah, and
Jacks
we played that. Yeah, and we in the bat and ball, we did that quite a bit. Yeah, so there was always something to do. We couldn't stay inside. We had to be outside. Our parents didn't allow us to sit up in the house. We had to go outside and find something to do.
Well, you know, one of the things that my parents had us do is that we had to stay in on Sundays. And I know it would get me so angry in the beginning. Like, why can't I go outside and play with everybody else? But as I got older, because when we were inside, we had to do things that were creative. Like we would have a puppet show because we had to find things to do, or we'd, you know, read books to our parents. And the puppet show, we would show our parents later on. We make puppets out of socks. So we were, you know, we used our imagination and, you know, spent that time bonding, you know, with each other and with our parents. So it turned out to be a great thing in terms of creativity. And I learned that was important. I don't know where my mother got that from. I mean, she was from Boston. And, you know, the blue laws were up in Boston, like, you know, you stay in on Sundays after church or whatever. But I think it was a good thing after all, when I look back.
Well, you know, Michelle, a lot of the stores and things, they were not open on Sunday. And the movies was open on Sundays, and the frozen custard but you know, the shopping centers and, you know, all of that, they were not, you know, opened on Sundays. I kind of interjected here. Because I wanted to bring up the bugs and the house parties, because you know, we partied. We knew all the dances. You know, we watched Tina Rama and Milt Grant and all of that. And there were certain houses, only a few houses whose parents really let us party in the basement.
Okay.
And so, guaranteed that, you know, every weekend we were going to be in somebody's basement partying. And like in my family, my two brothers, my one brother next to me, he liked to dance. Of course, I like to dance. But my second brother, he wasn't trying to go to no parties. He wasn't trying to do none of that. My father used to say, if he doesn't go, none of y'all go. And so, you know, we would just be up, you know, around the corner, a few houses away. And so we would threaten him. And of course, he would then go to the park. But you know what else? Like Cindy and them's house was the card house. And we learned, her father taught us how to play bid whist. And so we would spend hours. Well, before bid whist, remember, we used to come and we used to play Monopoly. Yeah. Especially like during the summer. We start off early in the morning playing Monopoly and break up, go home for lunch, come back after lunch. And we would be playing a lot of board games, but especially, you know, Monopoly. Dr. Lindsay, do you have any others? Let me look over here at the chat. I see Malvolia's on. She's talking about the hula hoop.
Oh, yes. That was a good one for a while, the hula hoop.
The hula hoop, mudslides, and I heard the jacks and hopscotch. I think we said that. Mother May I, red light at night.
Okay.
Kickball, Cindy. Kickball was, and they had a huge alley in the back. We had alleys. Kickball was one. A few houses had backyards that we played in, but most of the time we didn't play in people's backyards. We played on the front, where everybody could see everybody on the front. We didn't get closed up in backyards. And Marcel was talking about Tacoma playground. We would run down the alley to the playground. We was involved in all activities that were in the playground. Okay, come on, you all. Push that like button and the share button, and keep writing these comments here.
Let me see if y'all would like New Orleans. What were some of the key community figures in your neighborhood? We had teachers, we had nurses, and we had preachers. Those are the key people. What were the key people in your neighborhood?
We didn't have no preachers. Or did we? Nobody was a preacher.
I don't think there was any of us a preacher.
No.
But
we all went to church, but we didn't have any preachers.
You didn't have any preachers, okay.
Yeah, most, I guess, people in the government, federal government.
That's the big here.
Thing in Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
more so than anything. So I think that was the thing. Who lived at the end of the street on our street, Lethea?
Well, that was Judge Campbell.
Really? A judge? Oh, wow. Y'all upscale.
We had a variety of, we had business owners, and our neighbor behind us, he owned a gas station, and government workers and postal employees and teachers, and I think we mainly had government employees, and we had some households moms were housewives. They didn't work.
Not my neighborhood. Not my neighborhood. Everybody went to work.
Cindy's mom
Everybody went to work.
My mother did work. My father was military, and then when he retired, he went into the federal government, as we did as well. When we got into high school, they had the summer jobs through the federal government, not the district government. So we just continued, as we were in college, continued working. Zoe did for sure in the federal government, and then
I did too.
College, started working full time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
You,
Cynthia, same thing
we
That's
all,
happened.
why
and
everybody came here. There were jobs here.
yeah, but you know, we started off, the guys in the neighborhood started off with delivering papers.
Oh,
And
yeah, we get
we were
that.
12 and 13 with the summer jobs. And then all of us worked in fast foods, McDonald's, junior hot shops. Our brothers
Not
worked in the
me.
hot shops.
Now, let me
Before we
ask you a
got to
question.
government, I mean, before we got these government jobs, boy.
Now we had Total Action in New Orleans. It was sort of the government creating jobs for youth. You know, they were actually government jobs as well as New Orleans jobs. You know, city jobs. So they, if you were a certain age, you could get your Social Security, and then they would give you a job. That you have Total. I don't know what they would call it here. We called it Total Action in New Orleans.
Well, piggybacking on what Cynthia said, now Cynthia, believe it or not, I first started working under Marion Berry's summer youth program, but I had some good, however, I had some good jobs,
Right.
assignments when I was under this program. I actually worked in Congressman, what is it? Congressman Arrington Dixon's office for like 3 summers in a row. So I
Okay.
was blessed. I got some good positions under the Marion Berry Summer Youth Program. And then I bridged over to the federal government summer jobs. And like you said, you do well, you come back. I came back from college. I always had a job waiting for me up until I graduated from college. And then I became a full-time government employee. So there were some good positive things from that experience that got me to where I am. But I'm now retired now. Hey.
Alicia mentioned Paperboy. My mom wrote the owner of the Washington Post, and she wanted my brother to be a paperboy in the neighborhood. So he was one of the first Black paperboys in the district.
Wow, that was good. That was
Wow,
good.
history. Go
Yeah, that
ahead.
was good history.
That's all right. That is all right. Dr. Lindsay, you got another question? Any other Michelle asked to make some comments. Here's a question to ask.
Okay.
Michelle, what lessons from your childhood do you still carry into your adulthood? What are some of the lessons that you learned as a child that you still walk in today?
Zoe, do you hear me?
No.
Yes.
Okay. One of the questions that we're hoping that you can answer, I'm sure you can, is what lessons that you learned from childhood that you still carry into your adulthood today?
Okay. What lessons? I guess
Parents.
respect and learning to trust and have faith. And some of that is due to religions and also to my parents who made us go to church,
Right,
even when we
right.
didn't want to go. And I think for today, young people, for some reason, don't like to communicate. And that bothers me. They won't talk. They want to text. And they don't want to have a verbal conversation. Everything's got to be, a quick message. And that's something that's got to change because you've got to communicate in this day and time, or you won't know what's going on, and you won't know what people are really thinking.
Right.
If you're just reading text.
Right.
So communication is key.
Yeah.
And learning to listen. You don't have to accept what others are saying, but at least hear them. That's real important. That young folks today
They don't
hear, communicate, and learn to live a life without fear.
Right.
Because right now they fear technology, they fear the politics, they fear everything. And that's something we didn't have to really worry about. Well, I didn't worry about it when I was growing up.
But here's one that I like that you mentioned earlier, though. the respect for adults. That was one that our parents always taught us, to respect all adults. That I mean,
Now I can't hear
whether you
you.
knew them or not knew them, that was key. You had to respect them. Yeah, and I think that's a lost training in our community now. Most people don't. When we were little, and everybody was your mother, and everybody was your father. You couldn't hide, try to do something around the corner. They said, "Oh, aren't you the Lindsay's boy?" I'm gonna call you mother and father right now. Oh God. Mm-hmm.
Can I add on to that, Alethea?
Yes.
Yes.
I know when I was doing my summer youth jobs, my mother always make me dress like I was going to church. I used to be so mad. She used to say, "Nope, you dress." So I had to wear my good clothes to church to work during the summertime. She says, "Nope, you dress like you're going to church. You're not wearing sneakers and jeans and t-shirts." And I kid you not, that tradition has carried over through my entire year, all my years working, in the federal government. Until one time I ripped a pair of stockings and I told my boss, "That's it." Because I had to crawl on the floor. I was doing IT stuff, so I started wearing pants. I said, I got tired of going across the street to Macy's buying stockings. So other than that, I lived over at Macy's buying stockings back in the day because I was always wearing suits and dresses to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I did IT work, so I was always, ripping my stockings because I had to get on the floor and deal with wires and connecting equipment and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pants. And I started wearing pants to work after that, and pantsuits. I gave Dressbarn a lot of money back in the day down there. Anyway, all right. That's it. Just wanted to share that tradition.
Yeah, that was a good, because you could tell people today, the generations are different. You could tell the older people, they when they go certain places, they dress up certain ways. When you're going to work, when you're going out, when you're going to church. But the people of the younger generations, they just wear anything. I said, "Wow, you wearing that? Yeah, this is comfortable." I said, no, you gotta. Our parents taught us you gotta look good. And my mother, I don't know if you're like, this is the South. I'm telling myself now. My mother said, "You got to have clean underwear on. You have clean pants in case something happens when you're in the street."
There we go.
If something happens, it's not gonna matter to me. You gotta have clean stuff on.
That was a universal. Those were universal, and you had to always, especially the girls, always had to make sure you had a dime.
A dime, yes.
Because if something happened, you're gonna need to have to make a telephone call.
Telephone call. That's right.
You always had to. And look, your clothes had to be pressed.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
And some folks had chores. I think most of us could cook and clean and do all that because we had.
Exactly.
Those are things that were given. You were taught how to cook and clean. I wasn't I wasn't trying to wash no clothes, but I still had to do it. I still wasn't trying to do it. But
well, I know that on Saturdays when I wanted to sleep late, my mother would come in the room, come into our rooms, and say, "Okay, up, we got to take the sheets off the bed to wash them." And if she'll roll you up in the sheet if she has to get that sheet off of you. I was moaning and what have you. I just want to sleep. It's a Saturday. No, it's time to clean. Get up, get out of bed. I don't ever recall laying in bed for a long time, like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. No,
our parents
got up even on the weekends.
Yeah,
we were up and doing chores or what have you. So.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
I do remember every Saturday we would get up and that house was spick and span by 12 o'clock. And then, and only then, we could go to the movies.
That's good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the only day we could go because I agree with you, ladies. On Sunday, you had to stay home and stay inside. You couldn't go outside. Everybody would be outside playing. My parents, nope, stay right here. And we like, can we go just on the porch? Nope.
Well, as always, the time goes by so fast.
Uh-huh.
And I was looking at these comments. It's a question here that was written. Let me see if I can find it now. Let me see. Okay, as we begin to, Dr. Lindsay, do you have one final question?
Oh, this one seems like it's kind of heavy, but I'm gonna. If you could tell today's generation one thing about the community that raised you, what would that be? If you could say one thing about your growing up in your different neighborhoods.
Well, I can just there's a number of things that I would say to the
Mhm.
new to the generation
Generation.
today. Um, One of the things that it was important that I learned it was important is discernment. Knowing when to say yes, knowing when to say no. Growing up in a household where you knew what the situation was and you knew how to handle yourself.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, because of things that we did in the household and the fact that my parents tried to show us some of some places outside of the DC area when they could.
Mhm.
I would say that this generation should be more curious. They should
Yes.
continue to be curious, to read more, to know more about their history, to do these sort of things, because that helps them, become stronger
Yes.
when things occur that, they have no control over.
Yes.
They've got that in their system and they can move forward. That's basically that's what my
That's good.
parents taught us, and
Yes.
it's just to be stronger as you get older, be stronger, because if you know your history, you know that our people went through a whole lot,
Yes.
and they triumphed
Over a
despite
lot.
the,
Yes.
the issues and the trauma and the things that they went through. They rose above, and that's why we're here today.
Yes.
Because they were strong despite
Yes.
the issues, and that's why I think about that all the time, and I get involved in my history
Yes.
through book clubs, reading, and what have you, because it has made me stronger and got me through some situations on my job and
Mhm.
outside of my job. I
Mhm.
mean, quite a bit.
All right, Cindy.
Um, I have to agree with Michelle about knowing your history, your family history. And
That's true.
I've been doing that, and I've been able to go back and trace a great, 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 great grandfather who was born in 1830. And just talking to different family members and finding out what they did and what they went through and passing it on. So I can tell my son and I can tell my grandson all of the things that went on in
Mhm.
our community.
Mhm.
And they don't live here right now, but they come here often. And so my son remembers everything that we did and he did growing up, and he passes that on to his son.
For sure.
I think just communicating your family history is
Yes.
important.
Yeah, that's
Oh, all right, Marcel.
Yeah, I hear that noise. Y'all hear that
That's,
oh,
noise?
that's my
that's
Oh,
Dr. Lindsay's
That's Dr.
signal to
Lindsay.
us. But go ahead
well,
real quick.
picking back on what Michelle said about the reading, Zoe turned me on to reading. I think in my early years in high school, and I believe I have majority of those books that she encouraged me to read. I was read. I was a good reader for a good little while, and I thank her for that. And like you said, it's important we know about your history. I every chance I have with my young adults now, my son and my daughter, um, I try to inform them about their family, both sides of the family, my father's side and my mom's side. Every bit of information I have, I used to always just I ground it into them to the point now they said, Mom, you told us about this. We're not going to forget. So it is important to know about your history, know where you come from, because it helps you go forward and you learn about the accomplishments that your family has done. There's a lot of good things, especially on my mom's side and my dad's side um, of the family. And like one of them, my father's youngest brother, all of his publications are now being is at the Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh. I submitted and had it off
Oh,
because he was an editor. Yeah, he was an editor of the Pittsburgh Courier. So he passed away. I found all his publications and submitted it there. They digitized it, and all his legacy is there at that library. And I share that with my family members on my father's side. So again, it's important that we know where we come from because it helps you move forward in your life and who you want to be as a person.
Awesome, awesome. Michelle,
yeah,
would you ask Zoe that same question?
certainly. Zoe, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, okay. This question is, what would you tell the next generation um, from what you've learned? I think that was the question. What would you tell the next generation from what you've learned throughout your life, living in the Black community?
I think I already answered that as far as communication and having respect for others. I think for me,
What's the
it's
one thing?
the one thing is communication
Okay.
Okay. There's a question
and
here,
not
and
texting. I mean, verbal communication,
Oh,
a
yeah.
all right, thank
conversation.
you.
With,
Tell, tell Zoe thank you, Michelle.
mhm.
Tell Zoe thank you.
Oh, Zoe, Lethea said thank you for
Yes.
that. Okay. She said thank you for
Okay,
that.
there was a quick question here. Our time is up. I really like to stick with this time, but question's been flashing here. When white flight occurred, did the service level deteriorate, such as garbage pickup or snow removal? I think I can answer that real quick. It was about the same. They were pretty standard with picking up the garbage and, all of that. You just had to make sure those alleys were clear and there. Snow removal,
Yeah, audio
our
is
side
gone.
streets were really, they very seldom got cleared. It's snow was down for weeks, but that never bothered us because the schools were still open, the buses still ran. We walked to school, we walked to the buses, and so we learned how to maneuver through our community no matter what the situation was. We came up also during the era of the riots. So we learned how to maneuver throughout our community, no matter what the conditions were. And in closing, our time is up, but I want to say that whereas we began in the 50s in our neighborhood, majority white neighborhood, and years later we've been going back over the past, and then of course it became, I'll say 95% Black. But the last few years, they have had neighborhood reunions, and not by us because the homes that we grew up in, they've all been sold. No one's,
Yes.
all our mothers, parents are gone with the exception of maybe one mom
Thomas,
is still living, Miss Thomas.
Miss,
Everybody else is deceased. None of us, maybe a couple families still live in the community, in the neighborhood, and that's it. And it's all like it was when we came back. And when we came to the participated in the community day, it was really, really, it was just unbelievable. It was kind of disheartening in a way, but I'm telling you, that's where we are in Washington, D.C. and Northwest. Well, thank you, Dr. Lindsay. Our time is far spent. Thank you, Dr.
This
Lindsay,
was
as
wonderful.
always.
Thank the panelists. Everybody
And
was wonderful. I
yes,
enjoyed all
awesome,
of you and
awesome. We
learned
thank
a
you
lot.
all. Thank you so much. And thank you to our listening audience for tuning in. And we're sure that our neighborhood was very similar to your neighborhood and other neighborhoods around the city, especially as we talk about the different activities and things that we did growing up. Thank you. Love you all. Until we see you all again the next time. And remember, hold on there. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Take care.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.